Namathu Ratana Tayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Zim, the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sankhara. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. Hello, good evening, everyone. So today is Tuesday, the 29th of September 2020. And this is Ajahn Sujan from Varapunya Meditation Center, Aberdeen, Scotland. So as usual, I'm here with you all tonight. Be part of it. And thank you everyone for listening and joining this online Facebook Dhamma talk and me every evening. Hello Gautam, Margaret, Manish, and everyone. So today is another beautiful day here in Scotland, and I had a lovely walk, around 2 hours walk up to the King's Hill, and I came back. So on the way back I was reflecting that what have I done and what's going on during this lockdown. And I reflected every day that what I normally do. And I realized that my life or my days are fully packed with teachings and work. So normally we wake up at 6 o'clock and do the meditation and the chanting, and it ends 8 o'clock. And after that, again have a 1 hour break, and again a teaching. And then after the teachings, again there's the ceremony for the alms or giving a dana. And there is only about 3 hours or 4 hours of a time in the afternoon available, and where again often time I make time to go and help Ajahn Pira in the renovation of the barn. And immediately after that, again preparation or getting ready for this evening talk until again 8 o'clock. So with this, and then I was reflecting that how could I have been doing such a every day, and it was so rewarding to hear the feedbacks from you all, that how valuable it has been and how much it has changed your perspectives and how it has changed your life. So thank you very much for all those questions and feedbacks and encouragements. And I do not feel that so much time and effort that I have been spending on this online wasted after hearing such stories from you all, that the teachings and the meditation guidance have helped to deal with the different situation and difficulties in your life. And that's really, really rewarding. So thank you very much for all those feedbacks. So today again we are on the same theme again just an announcement that this Sunday we're supposed to have a Katina Robe offering ceremony, and normally we do it annually, and this is our one of the main events that we organize. And unfortunately, due to the in line with the government's advice, we have cancelled it. And yet there are members of a community are sending their donations towards the center. So I really appreciate all those donations, which really helps to maintain the center at this time of a crisis. And meanwhile, the talks and guided meditation will continue, and possibly in the morning sessions also are coming on Facebook too. Normally I'm teaching every morning, but never been online. So now I'm thinking to link online as well. So you will be hearing twice online the teachings. Right, so yesterday I was talking on the right mindfulness in the Satipatthana and the Dhammanupassana, and within the Dhammanupassana, as I said, that I will not be talking on the hindrances, since I have talked it extensively in previous months, which you can go and listen from YouTube channel. It is divided, it is separated only in hindrances. So as a result, yesterday I began talking on the 5 aggregates. Give you an overview of it. Okay. So what is the 5 aggregates, and what are the what that relates to our daily routines. In a summary, I just want to give you that when we talk about the physical form or the body, and this is again combination of 4 elements and another 24 material qualities. Yeah? So that's one way of looking at it, the form. And it's, as I said, it doesn't feel. This body doesn't feel. And in the 5 aggregates, the second factor or second aggregate is known as a Vedana. And in terms of the Vedana, again, a couple of nights ago, on the section of Dhammanupassana on the Satipatthana, I have spoken on that too. And again, I just would like to give you overview and a summary of it, that the feelings can be divided into 3 sections. One is a threefold, 3 types of feelings, and that is a pleasure, pain, and a neutral. And within this pleasure, again, it can be both a physical and mental. And same with the pain, and that's also can be physical and a pain. And with this can also be classified into 5 types of feelings, and that's simply physical pleasure, physical pain, happiness, unhappiness, and neutral. Okay, so this is also another way of classifying the Vedana section. And then if you want to know a little bit more details how to practice to understand the Vedanas and how that links to arising of the right mindfulness or right understanding, then you can go back to listen the previous talks. And again, this you can listen on our YouTube channel, where I have separated as a playlist on this, either the Four Noble Truth or the mindfulness. So you can listen there too. And again, the feeling also can be divided into 6 types. And the 6 types of feelings division comes from the 6 senses. So it's like an eye sees an object, in the contact with the objects, and that generates the feeling. So it's called Vedana, arises with that. Similarly, the ear and nose and tongue and the body and also mind. Okay, so the feelings again arises due to the 6 sense contact, comes to contact with the 6 bases, and with that contact the Vedana arises. And obviously these Vedanas are basically, as I have said, it's like the a bubble of water bubbles that created as the rain falls. And that won't last long, it's changeable. And also mention that feeling and emotions are 2 different things. Emotion is mostly related to the mind, or related to the contemplation and exaggeration or explanation or any commentaries on the feelings. So that's our reaction to any feelings transforms it into the emotion. Okay, so that is also, again, you can go back and listen in the previous talks about the feeling. And the third aggregate is known as Sankhara, Sanya. Sanya here again is also sometimes translated as a memory, and then sometimes it is translated as a perception. So it can be so many different ways of a translation of the Sanya. But I think the perception would be the closest one translation to the Sanya. Okay, having said that, again, Sanya and Sati are quite similar. Sati also means recollection and awareness and being mindful, and also to remember and memory. The Sanya is something that is, again, based on something that we have experienced in the past. So that's why this Sanya is, according to the teachings of the Buddha, can be classified into 6 different types of the Sanya, and that developed through our eyes, okay, developed through our ears, developed through our nose, our tongue, our body, and our mind. So anything that we have come across in the past, and we have seen it and we know what it is, then it will be imprinted in our consciousness, and that will last for a long time. And whenever we see similar object, we will define that object from the previous experience of that similar object. So this is known as Rupa Sanchetana, okay, and that's like colors, different colors of it, or different shapes of that object. Similarly, and we are able to speak in different languages. It's called a Santa Sanchetana. And again, the shapes of the letters and the words are simply conditioned to understand. Like English language is not my mother tongue, but over this 10 years of time I have been learning this, and I have been speaking this English language, and now it's become imprinted in me, and so I can speak in a relatively good English. Similarly, other languages too. Those languages, again, we learn from hearing someone speaking, and that's how it's become the perception of the words. Each words that I am saying, again, those who have learned or those who are a native speaker, they do understand what I meant. But for those who never heard or never learned English language, it will be like just a pitch of a words or the sound running through, and they will not understand whatsoever, and it's just like a noise coming out. So that's why, in order to understand the wordings, we have to hear the meanings of it through someone explaining, and with that we will be taking that as a perception. The memory will be imprinted in our consciousness, and every time when we hear the similar tone, then we will be able to define what does it mean. I remember a few years ago when the Apple company used the Siri application to define or to order in any application in the iPhone, and there was a comics using a Scottish language, and the Siri doesn't understand the Scottish language and simply says, "I don't understand. Please repeat your question again," like that. And similarly, again, if there is no other language which is not recorded or programmed in iPhone, then again Siri won't recognize it, or simply would say, "I don't understand. Please speak again." Yeah. So that's simply because Siri or this iPhone application is not programmed to recognize those languages. So that's same with our brain and our consciousness too. If any words are not imprinted or programmed in us, then we will not be able to understand that at all. So that's why the perception is something that we have heard of those tunes or those the volumes of the sound, then it is known as this word or that word, even the word what. So we realize this, the pronunciation of what, and then we recognize what that does mean. So that's why native speakers are so good at their own languages, because they learn from their very young age. So their pronunciation are so perfect compared to like me, who learn at the age of 30 a language. The clarity of the language or the pronunciation may not be right, and again it is based on whom I have been listening, and that's how I will develop. And that's why even in the UK there are so many different accents within the English language. Scottish accent is different, Cockney in London is different, again Newcastle is a different language, Liverpool is a different language, Manchester, Blackpool, and then a Black Country language, all different languages, even though they are speaking same language. So that's how it happens, and that's simply because the sound system that we have recorded in our consciousness is not good enough. And any sound that we have recorded and we have recognized that this sound is known as this pitch, then we will be recognized that, and this is known as Satta-sanya. Okay, so that's the second one. And the third is called Gandha. And Gandha sanya, again, it's a fragrance or the odor, any smell that we recognize from the past. As soon as you get the smell of that thing, we will be able to recognize that that is this fragrance or that is this smell. Particularly the ladies and even the gents, those who are using what's called a perfume, they immediately know what type of a perfume is that. And again, I remember I didn't know what the perfume difference between the ladies and the gents, and then somehow at the airport I used one of the ladies' perfume and used in me, and then just try it. So it was free, so I didn't know, and then I thought, okay, I haven't had a shower for a whole day and I was becoming stinky, so I thought, okay, I will use that. And again, after I arrived in Aberdeen, and Rudy came to pick me up and then said, Achan, are you dating someone? And then said, oh, why? You got this female now word's gone. The perfume belongs to female, so strong, like that. And I didn't know. And similar to, in 2006, I didn't know the difference between the gents clothes and the female clothes. So I remember, and I was planning to go back to Nepal, and I wanted to buy something for my family members and brothers and sisters. So I went to the shopping mall, and I didn't know that there are two types of clothing available. So I just went into the Birmingham supermarket, so Bullring supermarket, and then I bought clothing for each one of my family members. Little did I know that almost all of them that I bought belongs to ladies. Quite funny, that one. And even when I had to buy some t-shirts for myself to wear, And I didn't know that there is a difference between the ladies' clothes and the gents' clothes. So I was wearing any clothes that is available. So gradually, and then later on, when I moved into, when after I was invited to help Wat Mahathat, and Lao invited me since it moved to the new place. I went to help him there, and then later, gradually, with the help of other monks, gradually get to know the gents' t-shirts, and then gradually able to understand there are two types of clothings, and that's same with the fragrance as well. That time I didn't know, and gradually and develop understanding of it. So that is the fragrance or the scents. Okay, so do not ask me to buy any scents for you. You may disappoint with that. Same with the sweets and the shower and the bitter. And these are also again recorded from our experience with our eating, with our any food that we eat. So that's already, since we have eaten it, and then it is recorded in our tongue and in our memories, and it's become a sanya, perception. This is known as Rupa Sanchetana. For me, I have no problem with any types of food, any types of the tastes. I think I have told you a few nights ago about how do I cook to the food when I came to the UK for the first time and helping at the Punjab Buddhist Society in Wolverhampton. I had to cook myself, but I was able to eat, but the rest of others couldn't eat it. And it's just the tasteless. Same with here as well. When I'm cooking, I know and I can eat it, but the rest of other people may not be able to eat it. So taste is not a problem with me. But however, whatever we eat, that's become a new form of a knowledge, and we take the perception of it. So that's why looking at the pictures of the menu, we will not be able to define the taste of it. So anything that we put it into our mouth, only then we perceive it as this is a shower, this is sugarly sweet, or this is bitter, or this is very spicy. And this perception also again imprinted in our consciousness through our experience. Same with the softness and hardness. Again, from our experience, we recorded that this item is soft, this item is hard, and this item is comfortable. And this sort of a comfortable situation arises simply because of our experience with it, and it's recorded in us that I like this sort of comfortable or that sort of a comfortable. Okay? And that's our relationship. And in terms of, again, beauty and not beauty or revolting, and these are based on experiences too. So that's why our perception is, again, perception or memories is also known as the sanya, basically is, dependent on our experience with it, and then recorded in our consciousness. So that's the third part of the third aggregate of the five aggregates. And the fourth one is called a Sankhara. Now, Sankhara is quite a difficult subject to understand. It is known as, sometimes it is translated as karma formation, other time it is translated as volitional action or volitional formation, or sometimes it is known as volitional action. And this is again, according to the Abhidhamma, and this is divided into 52 types of chetasikas, mental factors. But again, I do not want to go into that 52 types of mental factors, but I would like to inform you that this is, according to the sutta discourses, this is based on our six senses. As our six senses comes to contact with the six sense bases, and what happens is that we will act. And if we look at our life, we are doing only 3 things. Okay, doesn't matter how many works you are doing. We are doing only 3 things. 1, doing by physical body. 2, doing by speech. And 3, doing by mind. No more than that. We do only 3 things. And within these 3 things, again, we are doing only 3 things too. 1, thinking about good thing. 2, thinking about bad thing. And 3, thinking about rubbish or just a neutral, or thinking about higher things, or the neutrality, a neutral position, neutral mind. Okay, and that is a sankhara. And what happens is very moment, very moment when I sees an object or the form, okay, there is I consciousness arises, and with that arising of I consciousness, the feeling arises, and with that feeling we recognize that feeling, and then we work on that. Okay, we work on that, and that's how we will work in a sense that liking and disliking, and then forming into new forms. Yeah? So Vedana acts as an incentive, okay, one who invites. And the Sanya basically, perception basically gathers anything that we have come across. It gathers the information, gathers the raw materials, data. And then the Sankhara is basically resembled on the basis of the raw materials. Okay, so Sankhara is of one which again takes us into the new form or new formalities, creating new things. And the last one is called Vijnana. Vijnana is again translated as a consciousness. And here again, according to Abhidhamma, Vijnana is again classified into 89 chittas or 121 chittas. But in a short term, Vijnana is known as a chitta. But in order to understand the chitta or the Vijnana, again, we have to understand that it's based on the 6 senses. 6 sense comes contact with the 6 bases, and then with that the consciousness arises. Like I sees a form. At that moment, the I consciousness arises. So chitta arises at that time. So that's why chitta or the mind always has to have an object to arise. Without that, the mind doesn't exist. Okay, so this is in a broad sense of this the 5 aggregates, but in overall it is about our life, our body and our mind, and basically it's called a panchupadana khanda dukkha. The Buddha said that whenever we have attachment to or clinging to these 5 aggregates, then that invites the suffering, that invites the trouble. But the very moment when we become dispassionate by understanding that this is impermanent and non-self, then we will be free and enter into the noblehood. So I offer this as a tonight's reflection for you all. May you all be well and happy, and thank you very much for listening. And with this Dhamma listening, may you all be well, may you all be safe. May all your good wishes come true, and with the blessings of the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, may you all safe. Thank you, and in a few moments' time we will have a chanting and meditation. You're most welcome to join. Until then, good night and see you shortly. Thank you.